A very good morning to all of you, amazing, special souls. It's a pleasure to be connecting with all of you today. How are you? So, I have to admit, I have butterflies today because I feel like I haven't been live in a while. And I've been taking time to really integrate a lot of new energies coming in. But I'm really happy to be connecting with all of you. Hopefully, you like the new thumbnails. I feel like I'm in a period of reinvention right now, and I've been itching to get back on and connect with you guys, but it just hasn't been time. So let's get into it. I see that there are about 150 people in the room. We're going to give it a couple more minutes, my friends, and then we're going to jump in and get this party started. So, how are you? I have a lot to cover today. And so please share these messages. Please share, subscribe, like, all of that good stuff. I appreciate that. It's going to be good, packed with information today, okay? Hopefully I'll be able to cover it all. I will. All right, let's begin, my friends. And then the others can catch the replay. So, the first thing I want to preface with is that every single one of us on this planet are equals. I don't want you to just listen today and just consume the information. I want you to feel it in your body. When I tell you that we are all equals, we are all children of the universe, children of God, children of Source. That's what we are. We're all equals. So when you see a police officer, you immediately shrink down because in your mind, in the hierarchy of life, that police officer is above you, right? So that police officer brings up all these insecurities in you and all these things in you. But the truest reality is that that police officer is your equal. He's not above you. He's not under you. We are all equals. When you start to walk around in your reality with this knowing, with this feeling, then everything changes. Why? Because you become 100% fearless in who you are. 100% fearless. There's no one that's superior to you or inferior to you. Everyone is your equal. So I want you to start living this way. Start operating in this fashion where you are walking around knowing that everyone is your 50-50 partner in life. And I want you to step into this new power where anyone who tries to take advantage of you or who tries to scare you, you can look them in their eye and you know it's a lie. You can look them in their eye and you know it's a lie. I like that. You know it's a lie because God created everyone equal. Okay. And I want you to start really anchoring yourself into this knowingness, feeling that. You're almost going to feel like there's this invisible bubble around you that repels anything that tries to take advantage of you, anything that tries to manipulate you, anything that tries to control you. This is the power we have to have. And I believe, and this is just me because I tend to be doubtless in what I believe that we can actually train ourselves to start cementing these energetic abilities where if anyone attempted to harm you, they would immediately like be repelled physically, bow, and they would fly off. This is the kind of freedom that is up for grabs right now. This is the kind of freedom that is available to us right now. Being so fearless that you're living with freedom without blind spots. See, freedom with blind spots is thinking that you're free, but then if the police officer wants to arrest you and put you in handcuffs, he can do that. That's not true freedom. True freedom is no, I'm my own person. You try that. You try that. And if they tried, then something would happen to them to show them that they are your equal, that they're not allowed to touch you. So this is about stepping into being untouchable, knowing your power, knowing that freedom is not without blind spots. Sorry, freedom is without blind spots. It's not with blind spots. This is true freedom. When you can walk around with a 360-degree awareness that you're covered, the universe got you. No one can mess with you. No one can touch you. No one can harm you. You will feel a new power emerge from the core of your soul, from the depth of your soul. See, I didn't expect July to be about this, but it seems like July is all about the lower chakras. It's all about grounding the higher self into this physicality, grounding the truest, most authentic self, the freest version of who we are. It's about descending the higher self into your physicality, becoming the higher self in this physicality. All right, that's what this month is about. And I didn't expect that, but I received all these messages before I came online, and it can be overwhelming for me at times because it's like, oh, I'm just going to go chill and hang out with people. And it's like, and I get all these downloads right before I come online. So I want you to really start picturing this in your mind. When you walk around, no one can touch you because you're a child of God. And they're a child of God too, so you can't touch them. But if they attempt to do you harm, something horrible is going to happen to them. Why? Because that's the law of attraction. If they try to hurt you, something is immediately going to happen to make them feel sick. You know that feeling you have when you talk bad about people behind their back and then you feel awful? 10x that, 100x that. This is the power that you have. Yeah? You know the feeling when you gossip about people or you speak badly of someone and then you feel like really sick to your stomach after, like, oh, I need to come clean or I need to fess up. The reason why you feel so sick when you talk about people is because the universe is your mirror. So it is like a weapon. Like that person is like a weapon. That person has an energy that's causing your energy to bounce off of them, return to sender, which is you, and then you feel sick to your stomach. Now you can multiply that by 1,000. See, the human will never be free, ever, unless we're aware of this kind of power. And again, I believe that we can develop these abilities. That's what I do every night. And it's been amazing to witness how the world around me is responding. So now let's segue into the next thing. All right. So this month is all about saying goodbye. Bye, honey. Goodbye. This month, my friends, is all about saying goodbye to lower vibrations. What are lower vibrations? Anything that isn't you. Ooh, touche. Lower vibrations are anything that isn't you, that doesn't represent what you're creating in this reality. This is your experience. You get to have your experience. This is about you creating your own reality. This is about saying goodbye to lower vibrations. Anything that isn't you. Now, you may be wondering, well, I've been around a lot of people in my life, and even though they would tell me things and I could feel the energy that they might be lying or they might be lying to themselves or they were in a disempowered state, for the longest time, you had to hold space for people. Why did we have to hold space for people for such a long time? And I'll explain this. Okay, so let's say I'm in a conversation with someone and they're telling me things and I'm feeling the truth, right? I'm feeling the energy around it. I can tell they're like lost. I could tell they're lying maybe, or they're being deceptive. In the past, I wouldn't say anything. I would just hold space. So the last few years, all of us who are on a spiritual journey, thank you guys for the donations. I get so caught up in like my spiel that I I don't take the time to say thank. I don't even notice that you guys send them. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Okay, so why is it that the last few years we had to hold so much space for people? Well, from one perspective, we were learning how to accentuate our own intuitive abilities. We were becoming familiarized with the information that was streaming in. So someone's telling you things and you're like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, it's not matching this energy. So you were still like a computer computing all these things, computing all this information. But the reason why we had to go through that phase was so that we could release our own internal judgments. Because a lot of us used to judge people. So we had to learn how to listen and tune in to the energy and learn how to clear our own judgments, clear our own projections. Now that we've opened up our hearts, now that we've opened, and this is how it works in the universe. Everything recycles and you move into a higher level and the game starts again, but you're starting the game as a more mature individual. So you beat a level, then you start again at the same level, but you're in a higher level. You're in a higher consciousness. So the reason why we had to learn how to hold space for people all these years and not always speak our truth is because we were learning how to surrender our judgments. Are you guys following? We were learning how to surrender our judgments that we held because we had a lot of judgment. And through that, we were healing our traumas. Through that, we were healing our quote unquote projections. But now that we're operating with an open heart, guess what happens? We get to fully blossom ourselves into the fullness, the entirety of who we are. So we don't have to hold back anymore because we're truly coming from an honest, transparent, loving place. And a loving place means you're loving yourself enough to be honest, to be integral, to be transparent. So saying goodbye to lower vibrations means that you're not going to let things slip anymore. You're not going to let things slip or slide anymore. So in the past, someone might ask you, what do you think about like my haircut? Or what do you think about what I'm wearing? Or blah, 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 blah. And you would be like, oh, that looks good. But you weren't being fully honest. And the reason why you weren't being fully honest is because you were still learning how to release your judgments and how to be more compassionate. Now that you are compassionate, you get to be all of you, and you're going to feel sick if you're not all of you. So this month is all about stepping into this power, into this fearlessness, into this openness. That's what this month is about. Okay? So we're saying goodbye to lower vibrations. We are becoming more magnetic because if you think about it, when you're in your own zone, when you're in your own lane and you own who you are, people gravitate to you because you radiate such a power, such a glow. You're glowing up and you're blowing up, right? And people see you and they want what you have. So this month is going to be one of your most magnetic months. You're going to be attracting all kinds of people, right? But those people are going to think, oh, I can just be whatever with this person. No, because who you are is going to be so honest that they're either going to be able to handle it or they won't be able to handle it. So to their surprise, they might walk up to you and then realize, man, this person's in their power. Like this person is unfuckwithable, right? This person is unstoppable. So, but they're still going to gravitate to you because you're emanating so much personal power. And you're going to notice this month how living your truth, living in your authentic self is the only way to live. It's what allows you to create your own experience, your own reality. Because if you're not creating your own reality, something else is going to swoop in and create it for you. That's what I've learned about life. That's why I think boundaries are so important, especially at this time. Boundaries are so important. Why do I say at this time? Because I honestly feel like a lot of people are lost right now. Like people are making very poor decisions. A lot of people I've noticed, they're making decisions from a place of like unworthiness right now, a sense of unworthiness. And so they're never going to be satisfied because they're always, getting the next surgery or getting the next thing to make themselves feel better, but they're still chasing something to fill a void. So I've been noticing a lot of people around me, from all walks of life, in relationships, decisions in relationships, decisions to start a business when it's not time to start a business. People are making very poor choices right now because they're feeling so lost and they're in a way resisting their own personal transformation. And when we're resisting our personal transformation, the ego is likely to take over, and it's going to create from an immature place, from a place of like, I'm not satisfied. I want more. I want more. I want more. I want more. So, yeah, people are creating from a place of um, indecision. They're creating from a place of unworthiness, of inadequacy, of unlovability, of not feeling deserving. I find that that's happening a lot, which is why they're going to gravitate to you like crazy. Because if you're solid in who you are, remember, this month is all about activating, the rock in you. It's all about activating, becoming the higher self, descending who you really are, and becoming it. You're becoming it, right? Like you think of the Incredible Hulk that turns into the Hulk, like he's becoming his true self. He's ripping through the illusion and he's becoming the Hulk. So this month we're ripping through the identities. We're ripping through the illusions. We're ripping through everything to become, to step forth as our authentic selves. Yes? All right, good. We have about 850 people in the room. That's good. I want everyone to hear this. Everyone. So a lot of people are going to flock to you this month because you're going to be super magnetic AF. And they don't realize that when they approach you, their own shadow is going to be mirrored back to them. Because anytime you live as your truest self, as your unapologetic self, then what's going to happen is you're such a bright light that you blind them. Like, ooh, like it's unexpected, right? They think that they're going to be able to come in and control you and manipulate you or pick your brain or do whatever. But because you're such a bright light, because you're embodying your power, to their surprise, they're going to be like, I didn't expect that. I just got triggered. The reason they got triggered is because they still have a lot of shadow. They still have a lot of trauma that they're not addressing. You can't get triggered when you don't have trauma. I'm just being honest with you guys. Okay? Because when you don't have trauma, you become the higher self. The higher self doesn't get triggered. It just doesn't. So the other thing I wanted to share also about this month is more and more of us are going to speak as the higher self. What do I mean by the higher self? As your fullness, as your wholeness, as the fullness of who you are. So the reason why certain couples succeed is because they're speaking to each other as a higher self. They're able to talk about something by placing it on a coat hanger, right? Imagine you're placing a conversation or an issue or a problem you're having in a relationship. You're placing that on a coat hanger, and together you find a solution for that. You find a resolution for that. That's higher selves working together as a team. The lower self is the ego. The lower self is bickering. But you weren't there for me, and blah, 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 right? So it's like fighting each other. It's a very low vibration. So this month, when you speak as a higher self, you're able to talk about things very openly. You're immediately going to know if someone is in the lower self or if they're in the higher self. So I'm going to repeat that. By operating as a higher self this month, without filters, without editing yourself, so we're not here to edit ourselves anymore, but just being who we are on the spot, right? Without any lag. By being your truest self, you are being the higher self. But your heart is already open, so you're not going to offend anyone. You're just being honest. Remember what I said earlier. We had to learn how to listen to people, even though we knew the energies were like out of whack, because we had to grow in our compassion. We had to grow in our attention. We had to grow in holding space for people. But now that our hearts are open, now that we've cleared the judgment and our hearts are open, we can finally step forth as the higher self. And you're immediately going to know if someone's on your wavelength. Immediately. Because if you talk about something very comfortably, they're going to get uncomfortable. If you talk about something very openly, they're going to get defensive right away. that means they're operating as a lower self. Now, remember, you can't change these people. So you just let them be. It is what it is, right? If you see that they get defensive, then you just drop it. Just drop it because they're not ready for that. They're not ready for that level of transparency. They're not ready. And I like that, the level of transparency. They're not ready for a higher level of transparency. But here's what I want to say to you guys. When you live in the light, nothing is hidden. Nothing is hidden. Everything is hanging out there. Everything is laid out on the table. So living in the light is about being your truest self, unedited, unfiltered, right? And then seeing who else is in the light. Being in the light is being aware that you're operating with the utmost integrity. When you operate with the utmost integrity, you're not hiding things from people anymore. You're not trying to manipulate people anymore. You're not trying to deceive people anymore. And I've also noticed that, man, people will lie to you in your face. I've been shocked lately at how many people will literally lie to me in my face. The other thing I've been noticing is, and by the way, before that didn't bother me because I was learning how to release judgment. Okay. So just circling back to that, I was learning how to release judgment. But now that my heart is wide open, I can see all the deceptiveness and all the lies and all the dishonesty. Right. But I see it from an open heartedness. I see it from, that person is still playing in their own shadow. That person is still playing in that. It has nothing to do with me. They're just at that level. And that's okay. So what else do I want to talk about this month? Oh my God, there's so much to cover, you guys. Okay. People are going to be testing your boundaries this month a lot. They're going to test your boundaries because when you start to radiate, when you glow up, right? When when there's such a powerful glow around you and you start to draw in all kinds of people because they see something that they want, they recognize themselves in you, but they don't know that they do. Like they see themselves in you. They see their own power in you because all you are is a mirror. I said to you, a lot of people are going to be surprised because they're going to expect one thing when they approach you and they're going to get another. A lot of those people are going to test your boundaries, right? It happened to me yesterday. This guy stopped me on the street and he was like, very nice guy, by the way. So I don't want you guys to think like I think anything negative of him. He stopped me on the street. He's like, I love your work. Would you ever consider doing a private session with me? And I said, of course, but I opened them on Instagram in my stories and spontaneously, right? So I don't know if you guys follow me on Instagram, but the way that I work is that I will say opening up a session in 10 minutes. So it's spontaneous. I don't plan anything in advance. And I haven't planned anything in advance in like 4 or 5 years. That's just how I live my life. Like it's nothing personal to anyone. So he's like, would you ever consider scheduling a session with me? I'm like, well, yeah, it's just that you have to like turn on the notifications in my stories on Instagram and just make sure you click right away because they sell like hotcakes. Like the second I post it, it's gone within 3 minutes. He's like, well, yeah, but I mean, can you make an exception for me? And I said, if I had met you like 5, 6 years ago, yeah, I was scheduling people, but every business evolves, every person evolves, and this is just how I live my life now. So I won't be able to make an exception for you. And he's like, well, the universe is limitless. So if you have a change of heart, everything is possible. I'm like, yeah, I just told you everything is possible. You could just go to my Instagram stories and turn on the reminders. Right. And I was very firm. And I could tell he was really like grappling with that because he wasn't getting his way. So I just said, brother, like, this is just how I do my life. Like, it's nothing personal towards you. It just is what it is. So you're going to find that a lot of people test your boundaries. That's because they can't stand the fact that you're in your power. They can't stand. But I mean, honestly, you guys, if you were in my position, the amount of requests I get every day for sessions, like I can't be there for everyone. Like it's not realistic. It's just not. So this is, everything evolves in life. And it's about honoring each other. Like, yo, I get that, bro. I get that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I get it. You used to do sessions and now you don't. Like, yo, congrats, right? But people can't celebrate you. People hate, they don't celebrate. So it's this month is all about celebrating each other. This month is all about empowering each other. Like, yo, yes, good for you. But a lot of people aren't able to go there yet because they're still so insecure and they're still so controlling. See, the thing about when you're insecure, you control people. When you're insecure, you're controlling, right? Thank you, Anja, for that donation. Okay, so I don't know if you guys could tell there's a different energy coming off of me, but yo, I've never felt so solid in myself. I've never felt so solid. Like, I used to be so afraid to share my life experience, right? I've had a really tough life. I used to be so afraid to share that because I was afraid to make my family look bad. And it's like, I don't want to make my family look bad. I love my family. But yo, I still had a fucking tough life. Like, I need to be honest about that, right? So I feel like I've cleared so much shame and so much guilt, so much fear around like, yo, I'm an adult now. I'm allowed to share what actually happened to me, right? And that doesn't need to take away from my family. Like, they're allowed to have their own perception, but the way I experience things is emotionally. I'm a very sensitive person, and I don't feel bad about sharing my story anymore. I'm not afraid to say I ran away from Canada. I'm not afraid to say that I felt misunderstood and no one listened to me. I'm not afraid. And I think this month is all about stepping in and being like, yo, I'm an adult now. Like, this is how I experienced my reality. And it doesn't mean I'm hating on you. It doesn't mean I'm trying to make you look bad. I love you. I just have to share my truth. This is my truth, right? When someone wants to listen to you, they will take the time to listen and understand you. Really acknowledge your feelings. I don't feel like I had that in my life. I'm being honest with you guys. And that doesn't mean that my mom is bad or my dad is bad or my sister is bad. It just means that was my experience. And I'm not afraid to share it anymore. And that's liberation, because a lot of people in your life want to control you, right? Because they still carry so much shame with them. There's so much shame around like who they were to you and what they're afraid of how they're going to be perceived because they're still in the ego. No one's thinking about them, right? We're all adults sharing our own story. Like, everyone has a right to share their own story. So again, this is very tied into the energy of this month. Like, we're finally becoming individuals. We're finally become mature adults that get to share and have our experience. Okay, so it's time to delete all the shame. It's time to clear all the guilt. It's time to clear all the fear, because otherwise we're still playing in a delusion. We're still playing in a lie. Like, who are you lying for? You're lying because you're still like in the lower self. That's why. Your higher self doesn't hide anything. So people can either step up or they can fight you. That's on them, right? If they fight you, they're going to stay in the ego. If they finally take accountability for what they did, which you don't need them to, but if they're ready to, they're going to evolve with you. It just is what it is. Relationships are a two-way conversation. It's not a one-way street, right? Relationships are a two-way street. If you're not hearing my needs and I'm not hearing your needs, we're not in a relationship. We're in a selfish relationship where we don't even see each other. So we're done with that, my friends. This is about transparency. This is about like, yo, this is how I feel. Are you going to acknowledge me or not? Because if you feel a certain type of way, I'm here for you. How can I make it better? What do you need from me? This is how we cultivate deeper relationships. It's just that simple. You're either willing to step up or not, period. Okay. So let me see. I made a couple notes because I have so much to share. Okay. So people are going to test your boundaries. Oh yeah, you're going to find that like when people ask your opinion, you're not going to be able to lie anymore. So like, hey, what do you think about my haircut? Or what do you think about this? You're going to be like, honestly, I don't love it. Like, honestly, yeah, I just don't think it's not right. And if they take offense to that, well, they made their choice. So it's on them. So then we're here to be mirrors for each other this month by being in our absolute truth. We're not holding back anymore. We're not letting all these fish swim around us, like the things that we want to say that we're not saying, we're actually saying it now. We're not afraid because we're being honest. We're living in integrity. Yeah. Think of all the thoughts you have all the time that you're afraid to grow into. I want you to really think about that. So you're hanging out with someone, you're on a date, and you really want to hold their hand, and you don't. That's because you're afraid to grow into who you are. I want you to really sit with this for a while. Let this sink in. So you're on a date with someone and you want to tell them that you think they're adorable, right? Or you want to tell them, I'm so attracted to you, or hey, I really like you. And you don't because you're holding back. That thought you're having is actually your truest self, and you're afraid to grow into that self. So this month is all about growing into your truest self, growing into your truest self, not holding back anymore, right? Because I'm telling you something, if you're dating people, and I'm just using this as an example, this can even be friends. It doesn't have to be people. If you're having thoughts that are true for you and you don't verbalize them or vocalize them, I hate to tell you this, but you are 1,000 miles away from manifesting. You're 1,000 miles away from manifesting because you can only manifest by living your truth. You can only manifest by living in the light. You can only manifest by being your authentic self. If you're not your authentic self, you're still living in fear. So you're still playing in the shadow. So how can you expect to manifest if you're still playing in the shadow? You can't. So if you're into someone, if you're smitten, if you're like enamored by someone that you've just met, share what's on your heart. That's what it means to be mature. That's what it means to be mature. Like, yo, I really like you. I really want us to just stay home tonight and make love. Or I want to hold your hand right now. Right? Like, be yourself. Because by not being yourself, you are 1,000 miles away from what you're trying to manifest. Remember, what's in the unseen reality is theoretically in the shadow. It has to be brought into the light. How do you bring it into physicality? Think of this physical world as the light. We see everything. Think of this physical world as the light. This is where we see everything. This is really good. I just got this now. The physical world is where the sun shines. You see everything, right? The energetic world is what you don't see. How can you expect to bring an energetic vision to the light if you don't speak it into existence? You have to drive it willingly into existence by living your truth. So if you're into someone, if you're digging somebody and you just want to be with them, tell them, like, I really want you to be my boyfriend. I really want you to be my girlfriend. I really want to hold your hand right now. Hold me, touch me. That's living in the light. That is living in the light. Because now, guess what you're doing? You're merging with everything you're wanting to manifest because you're living openly. You're not holding back anymore. You're not holding back anymore. You know how they say you're getting your sea legs or you're growing your sea legs when you live on a boat, you're getting your sea legs. We're getting our earth legs right now. We're growing our earth legs. We're remembering that we are here to be all of us, lovingly, openly, honestly. So we are growing our earth legs. How's that? We are growing our earth legs this month. Ooh, I'm loving these messages, y'all. I'm loving these messages. I was nervous, but like I'm so happy with what's coming through right now. Okay. Something else that's coming through. This is probably the most important message for this month is, you know how when a woman is giving birth, like first the head pops out? This month is when you're going to give birth to the head. You're going to start seeing the initial stages of everything you've been conceptualizing and visualizing and intending. It's going to finally start to appear in your physical world. So July is a huge month because July is when the evidence starts to set in. It's when the evidence of everything you've been working with emotionally starts to make an appearance in your physical world. But it won't be the whole baby. It's going to be like the head. And you're going to be like, ooh, that's good enough because that's showing me that everything I was imagining and intending was true. It was true. And now this little proof or this little evidence or this little head, right? This new version of yourself that you're birthing in the physical is going to be motivating enough for me and inspiring enough for me to keep going. So July is all about, you're going to start to see the head come out of everything that you've been doing behind the scenes, emotionally, energetically. It's going to start to appear. So July is all about the appearance of your manifestations. And then the way you're going to push the rest of the body out, you ready for this? The way you're going to push the rest of the manifestation out is by operating as a higher self, by speaking your truth, by not holding back. You're pushing it out. Rah! Right? But if you hold back and you're all up in your head, oh, I wish I could say this, or I'm holding back, I'm not telling the truth, then you're going to keep that baby stuck and you're going to be in labor much longer. Is this resonating? So basically, the initial stage of your physical manifestation is going to appear this month. How are you going to push the rest of the baby out? By being yourself, unedited and unapologetic. That's how you're going to do it. This month is all about being in your power, being in your fullness, no one gets to be you. You get to have your experience. If someone has a problem with it, yo, boo, you have your own experience. Don't try to hijack mine. Like, I honor your experience, but don't try to steal my experience. This is my experience. This is my true self. Does that make sense? Like, people always want to control someone else's experience. It's like, yo, control your experience. This is my experience, right? Get yourself in check because I'm putting you on notice. You got plenty to work with over there, evidently, because you keep trying to control me. So you need to focus on you, honey, because I'm over here living my experience. And God gave me my experience and God gave you your experience. So don't try to hijack mine. Don't try to hijack mine. This is me. You don't have to like it, but this is me. Okay? Like, people don't get to hijack your experience. You get to have your feelings. You get to have your interpretations. You get to have your perspectives. You get to see life the way that you want to see life because it's how you see life. There's only one of you. So step up and be your unique self. And if someone tries to control you, be like, boo, you need to go take care of that over there. You got plenty to work with. This is mine. All right? This is mine. Like, straight up, this is mine. So this month is all about seeing your manifestation come to life. And the way you're going to push it through or push it out is by keep being honest. Keep being honest. Don't shy away from being your truest, fullest self. We're not people pleasers anymore. We're not playing in shame and in guilt anymore. We get to be all of us. This is another message that was coming through. Your physical eyes have been lying to you your whole life. Lying to you. So right now you have to start believing in the one true intuition, the one true energy that you feel when people talk to you. Right? When someone's lying to you in your face and you feel something is off, you actually have to speak as if you're living from that energetic, intuitive reality. Nothing else. You can't let anything slide anymore. This is boom, right? I live from an energetic space. Something's feeling off right now. Can you clarify? This is how forthright we have to be. This is how straightforward we have to be. We have to stop believing what we see with our physical eyes. It doesn't matter if someone's smiling at you. If they're trying to control you and you feel something is off energetically, say something. Say something. Because by doing that, you're helping your manifestations come to life. How? How are you helping your manifestations come to life? By speaking and living from this place? Because there is only one true reality, is the reality that you experience emotionally and energetically. So by honoring that energetic reality, you are pushing it into the light. You are bringing it into this world. You're bringing it into this world. But by playing along with other people in all this pretense and this fakeness and this phoniness, what you're saying is, cool, I don't need my everything I've been visualizing to come to the light, because you're still keeping your truth in the shadow. You're still keeping your truth in the shadow, in the background. This is about speaking your truth, trusting your intuition, following that highest resonance of who you know yourself to be. Okay? So I think, I don't know if that's it. Oh yeah, there's one more. There's one more, and then I'm gonna leave it there. Oh my God, 40 minutes has already gone by. 40 minutes has already gone by. Okay, so there's one more I want to share with you. We are now being asked to pivot away from the people that we've been trying to pour into. So if you've been pouring into people, if you've been trying to pour love into people who aren't ever responding or replying to you, I'm talking about the people that you would take a bullet for, the people that you love like family, right? Friends and lovers that you've been reaching out to consistently, trying to tell them you love them and you cherish them, and you're constantly trying to patch things up with them and they never get back to you. I'm getting a very strong message that it's time to let those people go. Not fully, meaning if they come back around, you will welcome them with open arms, but it's time to turn away from that disempowering reality that I feel is linked to unworthiness. Like, we don't think we're worthy of love, so we keep chasing people from the past. We keep trying to unconditionally love people who can't see us, who have all these stories made up about us. I feel like you've done so much. You've tried so many times to make things right and to even apologize and to try to patch things up, that if they haven't reciprocated, then it's time to kind of pivot away from that reality. It really is. You've made multiple attempts. You need to give yourself credit for never giving up, and you're not going to give up. You're just going to start shifting your focus. They know you've been trying. They're not stupid. They're not ready for you. So it's time for you to love yourself unconditionally and know that you are worthy of someone who loves you as much as you love other people. You are worthy of someone who loves you as much as you love people. And the amount of magnetism and power you're going to feel by turning away from all of that is going to be astronomical. You're going to live a brand newly empowered life, brand newly, newly empowered life, where you are only following love. You are only following your sense of worthiness. You're not looking back anymore. I always say that when you have wings, you don't need a rear view mirror. You only need a rear view mirror when you have a car. You only need to look back when you have a car. But when you have wings, you don't need a rear view mirror anymore. So I want you to spread your wings and soar. I want you to spread your wings and be the free person that you came here to be. And when you reach out to these people, you're caught in a prison cell, right? You're always expecting a different result. And the intention behind it is beautiful. And I never want you to get rid of that. But I also want you to start seeing you. I want you to believe that there are other people out there who are cut like you, who are cut like you, who will give you the love that you give to people. So it's time to let go of the past. And that doesn't mean like turn people away if they knock at your door. No, like, you love people unconditionally. Unconditionally. Your door is always open to them. You're not going to be a bitch about it, right? This is not about being vindictive or like feeling vindicated or like taking your revenge on people. This is about like, I love these people, but I've truly tried everything I could. And my door is always open to them if and when they're ready. But I really deserve to be loved the way that I love people, And I think that you'll find that when you do that, you're going to open up to new worlds, to new people who are out there who are like you. But because you've never tasted that, because you've never experienced that, you don't think it's possible. So this is about believing it's possible and not giving up on that, and starting to shift your focus to and your energy to people who actually see you. It's very painful, but it's worth it, you know? So yeah, you guys, if my messages helped you today and you'd like to contribute, I really appreciate. I don't expect it, but I do like to tell you my link in case you'd like to contribute. It's feelgoodlife.com/donate. It's very simple. Feelgoodlife.com/donate. I love you guys. Thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next Feel Good episode. Take care.